bulbs.
Thank you.
Fun. I think we're live.
Okay, I'll move down so I'm not so high. There. That's the best I can do.
That's okay. I had to reconfigure everything here. I'll figure out how to use StreamYard. I will. I have help. Help is arriving soon. It's on the agenda. How is it out there in New Jersey today? We're like hot.
It's not in the 30s. It's higher
It's
than that.
It's past 60 degrees here.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've gone from wearing winter jackets to like, whoa, like let's wear shorts now. But there's no global climate change. Welcome to Spirit Talk Podcast. I'm here with Kathy Biehl for the, I don't know, umpteenth time. We've done this a lot. It's always
Indeed.
totally fun. You've been very busy. Today is the 17th. We're just coming off a really potent. I mean, I know I maybe say that all the time, but this full moon in Gemini felt different to me, like intensity and everything all over the place, and not really settling. That's what it felt like. That's why I sent you that little Giphy of the person collapsing onto the gym floor, like ah.
Well, the moon was squaring Neptune, and that's intensifying, pushing out craziness. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Hi.
But there were also some really uncomfortable aspects woven into this that were things that nudging and making you look at stuff that you didn't want to, and forcing some adjustments, and you know.
How did that manifest for you?
Uh,
You don't have to get personal. I'm just like in general.
my office cell phone is ringing on my personal cell phone. You explain that. I can't explain that.
I can't explain that.
That's weird even for me. So okay.
You can't blame Mercury, right? Because didn't Mercury go direct?
Yeah, well, Mercury's always an issue.
Did it
in
go
my
direct?
life.
Am I saying that?
Yeah, no, it went
Something that's
direct. It
true?
went direct Sunday night. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, okay. So the fallout, what's going on in our country right now? Let's just talk about. Well, we can start wherever you want. I'm curious as to how what's going on in our country is mirroring how the astrology is mirroring, back and forth. What's going on in America right now?
Well, okay, a couple of things. And I don't want to get into deep discussions of these events or issues. I am bringing them up as examples, okay? So
Yeah.
we have a full moon in on the axis that has to do with information and travel and things flying through the air, and it's squaring Neptune, which is so we have these mystery. Are they drones? Are they planes? Who knows what it is proliferating? That's part of it. And now we have a president-elect who's suing news outlets. He's got a couple more cases pending for things that really ought to be thrown out because they're not even causes of action. He's suing the Des Moines Register and a pollster who called Iowa against him. He's suing them for election interference and fraud, which fits Neptune. So that's hooey, all right? And I don't want to talk about the merits of these suits. They are examples of information stuff, and then pushing an agenda. So there's that. There's also like adjustment and really uncomfortable aspects going on. And with Mars retrograde, Mars being the leader, there are do-overs. And look at all of the countries that have instability or switches in their top leadership. Their ministers are resigning in Canada. People are screaming at Trudeau to resign. I bet he doesn't. The German chancellor got a vote of no confidence. The South Korean president, I think, got impeached a second time, although not yet removed, for declaring martial law. So there's this huge who's in charge this way and that.
Yeah. That's definitely being reflected.
And part of that full moon was a passing of the baton from Mercury, which had been retrograde, to Mars, which is retrograde. And I had said there were two probable ways that that was going to play out, equally probable. One being information and research and do-overs and investigations during the Mercury retrograde being handed to Mars for further investigation or for action, and also stuff that has come up in Mars's so far retrograde, which started December 6th, being handed to Mercury and being disseminated. And something that fits in
Yeah.
that is tying Russia to the Chinese ship that was caught messing with telecommunication cables in the Baltic. And so now we have things going back and forth between various NATO countries and Russia. And that's going to result in something. Okay. That will result in something, I'm sure.
Let's dissect all that. Um, so first of all, the orange monster is paranoid. He's acting paranoid. Don't you think?
I honestly am not paying much attention to him.
Well, no, no, just what you said. I'm not paying much attention either, but just what you said. You're like, he's suing the Des Moines Register for.
Fraud for having a pollster who called Iowa for Harris, and then Iowa went for Trump.
Let's just see if we can wrap our minds around that. What's the reason to sue somebody like for
Well,
that?
there are two. Okay. The first reason is to bully publications into doing whatever the hell he wants. And the second reason is to get a case up to the Supreme Court to change the guidelines for defamation of a public figure. There's currently a very, very high bar to defame a public figure.
Right, right,
And
right.
and I believe it was Clarence Thomas, could be wrong, but there is someone who has made a public comment up there on SCOTUS saying, we think we need to revisit this. So a reporter that I know actually put something on Facebook about ABC/Disney caving over the defamation lawsuit, that one factor, besides wanting to get on his good side, one factor was not wanting to set up a case to go to the Supreme Court to get the defamation standard changed. And under this court, as it's currently configured, it would. Yeah, Warren's put the name of the case. It's New York Times v. Sullivan. So there's a lot of stuff going on with
Yeah, there's a
that.
lot of stuff going on in the chat too. Excuse me, I gotta get this remove this hang on. The trolls are out.
Well,
So
enjoy your time, trolls, because anyway,
that sounded like a threat.
no, it's not a threat.
Because they won't be around for much longer. Okay, so just going to this defamation situation. What it looks like to me, the reason that I'm saying that it seems like Trump is really paranoid is because he's bringing attention to his illegitimacy as far as I'm concerned.
Seems that way.
Yeah, so I've been kind of reflecting on how him winning actually puts him in more peril.
Well, Russia certainly feels it's owed. It's made statements indicating he's on the line for something.
Oh, so yeah, yeah, definitely. And he gets looked at from the entire all our allies on the world stage with just utmost scrutiny. I'm not sure what's happening in Canada, but what he was saying about Canada and how he's just ruining him, he's ruining, he doesn't have a reputation to speak of that's positive, but he's just doubling down and making it worse and worse and worse and worse for himself. One thing I do want to address in terms of like just how people are speaking about what's going on. I cannot let the words come out of my mouth. It's just that president elect. I just that I can't. I mean, what does it feel like to say that? And in reference to him for you.
I can't do it either. I don't.
Well, you said president elect, so
Well, I know, but but it's. I don't.
no,
I've never.
I mean to just say I can't. Those words can't leave my lips. And the whole idea about, well, Cash Patel is going to head up the FBI, and this one's going to do that, and I don't know Jim Jordan's going to be, and these criminal, just like confirmed criminals. When people say the next administration, I can't. It's not part of my reality.
Mine neither.
So to even like, I couldn't say the words president elect in reference to him because it's wrong in every sense of the word president elect. He's not a president elect. It was a fake outcome. Russia interfered. Elon Musk interfered. Elon Musk is interfering around the world. He thinks he's king of the planet. And we're in a situation where everything that they're trying to uh, push on us as being our reality, if we don't push back, it becomes our reality. So I just want to say publicly, it's not okay. Just as my opinion, it's not okay to be talking about it as if it's the reality that we have to live in, right? Why would we talk about something we don't believe in? Just topic for discussion. It's not neither here nor there, right? I'm just saying. And anything else in life, like if you had certain things going on that you didn't really want to have going on in your life, it would be wise to not talk about them as if they're in your life. Not denial, but just not reinforcing it. Like if somebody's working on healing something, like if somebody has a cold coming on, it's really, like, for example, it's really good to just to be like, okay, I'm to be in the consciousness of I'm healing this. This is my body's healing,
Hmm.
right? So to so for me to say something like president elect, I would say president elect Kamala Harris, because that feels true to me from a psychic's perspective too. Like I feel like she won, and I can't just relinquish that. I just wonder if anybody else. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because I wonder if anybody else feels the same way.
There's a huge community of people called the dreaming women who have had they're people who have found each other online who've had similar dreams since the beginning of November and who are irrationally calm. And I'm one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. So
Irrationally
they
calm. And
we would never say president. We would never say president
I don't
elect.
even think of it in those terms. I think of these things and I go,
Yeah,
the agenda that's being presented is A, not what he said he was gonna do, and
right.
B, uh, utterly destroying the country from within. Um, Getting rid of the FDIC, that's bank insurance. This business about trying to get rid of the polio vaccine, let me go on record. My uncle was on Jonas Salk's team. I am related to someone who helped make that vaccine happen. My relatives, my blood relatives, were among the first people to get it. That's how much my uncle believed in it.
Yeah,
Countless lives have been saved. The only thing, okay, this is eugenics, all right? This pure blood nonsense. We don't
yeah,
want vaccines in our blood. This is eugenics. This is survival of the fittest.
yeah,
And all of these things together are, let's destroy this country. This is not governance. This is destroy this country and let the people, the really wealthiest, just kind of grab what's there. If you look at the projected or the proposed cabinet appointments and others, hardly anybody has any experience in the area that they're going in, unless they own something that is regulated by that agency. But otherwise, it's not, so I am focusing on living in and creating the energy of the world I want to be in, and I
Yeah.
encourage people to do that. And if
Yeah.
you follow me on Facebook or YouTube, you will see lots of posts about going to Christmassy things. I've just
Yeah.
been living in Christmas land. So, to that end, the astrology I wanna put in here is about the end of the month, the how we're things are ending in December. The
Yeah.
solstice, which
Okay.
is the 21st, has has astrological echoes of August 19th. What happened then?
And that's the solstice on Saturday. Before you continue, I just want to give everyone my in a nutshell. This is really important to me. They're leaving no stone unturned in terms of destroying the United States of America, which has been a powerhouse, really the leading nation for many years now. There's nothing, if you really look at it, there's nothing that Project 2025 and all these criminals, oligarchs, every single thing that they could destroy, they and then some, they're attempting to destroy, because that's what Putin is demanding. And so I just finished writing a Substack. It's about courage. Did you get it?
Mhm,
Um, and so I'm all fired up because I really feel that it's so important that more of us have to start the conversation of, this is an agenda to destroy us and to kill us. And last night during PNN, I got the words about Elon. What he has in his mind is to cull the herd. Death to Americans. And I hate to say that because it's so disturbing, but nobody can say that that's not what's going on. You just said it.
mhm.
So, and I just want to shout out to Jason, who said that he thinks he wants the house to fall on Trump. Anyway, that's it. I and the Wizard of Oz is a theme in my picture of the lion. Was the picture in my Substack. Anyway, go ahead. It's actually warm in here. This is crazy. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, there's no global climate change initiative to speak of. They have left no stone unturned in destroying the United States of America. So for the mainstream media to be, or anybody to be talking about the next administration, is making me a little crazy. Okay, go on. You're on the solstice.
The solstice on the 21st has an astrological configuration that echoes the one that was in the sky when the Democratic National Convention started.
In August.
And a difference is, in August, one of the players was the planet Venus, exactly on Kamala's Venus. And on the solstice, the role of Venus will be played by the moon, which is also women, but it's the people. And this sets up a vibe that goes for 3 months. All right. So this is not
All
it's
right,
not a
I like.
one-day event, but that same configuration tightens, gets tighter, tighter, tighter on Christmas Eve. And that's the completeness of what happened on August 19th happens for the second time on December 24th. Now, at that point, Venus is out of the picture, the moon is out of the picture, but something in Kamala's chart is activated. That is a liberating influence, a
On
sudden
Christmas
movement influence.
on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. So the period between the 20th and the 24th, she's not out of the picture. She's not out of the, there's a request for you to make some more moderators. Can you see that in the chat? Jamie
Um.
and Rose Blue. Um,
Okay.
So I would expect, and I have been expecting, something to
Thanks.
come out, something that unlocks the situation and bring her back into the news. Now, you will have noticed that she's suddenly been in the news, that she's
No,
been
because I'm
making,
not watching the news.
oh, but she's been making appearances. Biden's been talking about her.
Yes, I
So
did hear. I did text you because I did hear a little bit of what Biden's speech. I want to listen to the whole thing, and I will, where he said she's not going anywhere.
we're not letting you.
Yeah.
He added that we're not letting you
Okay,
go
I
anywhere.
didn't get that part. Okay.
So, I mean, who knows? There have been little hints. I could give you a list of them. Various high level Democratic people have said things like Gavin Newsom saying to Jon Stewart, be patient. Cory Booker posting a video saying, loud is not strength, silence is quiet, or silence is not weakness. Um, there have been a couple of other things that have sort of hinted at there's something. It can't just be, and logic tells me, and I have been saying this elsewhere, logic tells me our allies cannot afford to have a foreign dictator calling the shots in our country. NATO has already said it needs to shift to a war mentality, and that Putin is intending to go through Ukraine and then head for Europe.
Oh yeah.
So they're all in the barrels. And this little configuration that happened along with the full moon that I mentioned about Mercury going direct and having this baton handoff to Mars retrograde, it links up into the NATO chart in a way that is going to require fighting words, fighting response. And I have been saying for like a while, I'm expecting airstrikes. Honestly, I'm expecting NATO airstrikes. And the way
On
NATO works, if one member of NATO is attacked, they all have to go in together. My understanding is that Romania is a member of NATO, and Romania flipped its election because a candidate appeared out of nowhere that is Putin backed. So,
who was that person that just showed up at the last minute in Romania and got himself on the ballot? Do you know who
yeah,
that was?
I don't remember his name, but two things about him. Thing one, he showed up on the ballot not long after Starlink went into Romania. And thing two, coincidence maybe? And thing two, I understand
Wow.
he wrote the foreword or introduction to a book by RFK Jr., who was on his way to Romania when the election got flipped over and didn't go.
RFK Jr. was going to Romania right before the election.
Right after. He had a trip planned, which got canceled after the High
So
Court of Romania
what? Why
overturned.
was he? Why was he going to Romania?
That's a good question. Did I mention that the guy that tied for first place wrote either the foreword or the
Yeah,
introduction to his book?
yeah,
So
you did
there's a
mention it.
tie. There's a tie there. Anyway,
It's all, I know. When we've talked about it, and I've talked about this on PNN. By the way, I just turned off the chat because it was really distracting me. I'm
oh,
sorry. So
Georgescu is the guy in Romania. Anyway, my point behind saying all this is there are astrological echoes coming of things we have lived through recently that
yeah.
suggest things we've lived through recently will come back up again. And that carries through to inauguration day. So call me nuts, but when I did the little connect the dots, I was like, it looks like a woman president to me. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of male astrologers who disagree with me, and a couple of ones who are big into cryptocurrency who are women who disagree with me. But I'm not saying, no, not crypto, Bitcoin, big difference.
Astrologers?
Oh, yeah.
Astrologers?
Oh, there are a bunch of astrologers who are just on board with, oh, it's Trump. It's going to be Trump. It is Trump. Here's why it's Trump. And I just look at them and go,
It's the end of human civilization.
you
And
know,
what they believe is actually a thing. You know, I'm not even entertaining. It's the end of human civilization.
well, I don't see how the world would survive.
No, no, it
And
wouldn't.
that's
And
pretty dire, but
and
I don't
yeah,
see.
well, and what gives me a sense of peace is I don't I feel that there's a higher intelligence, a divine intelligence that will not allow that to happen. We would have done it by now. Something could have gone askew, and yeah, I just think that the Gaia, the Earth, is has some dominion here. I feel like there's a consciousness that will not allow Trump to be in office. I really do.
Well, internationally, I think it's there, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the planet also.
Yeah, so I don't see that the support, the energetic support exists for a Trump, whatever you call that. I
Well,
don't see the energy that exists for that. And we've been seeing lots of threads, connections between Putin and the Kremlin and all these other countries. It's becoming very clear.
well, also next year, the collective energy really, really, really changes. And this top heavy, richest people on the planet taking everything for themselves is very much in line with the old regime. And with what is coming in is it's like Pluto in Aquarius on steroids. So just to remind people,
Right,
Pluto's a planet that has to do with how we experience power. And in the late 1700s, it moved into the sign of Aquarius, and that's when the US Constitution was born. The notion of democracy arose in France. France had the French Revolution, and the idea of the middle class arose because there was this massive income disparity of the
right.
bourgeoisie, the aristocracy, and the
Yeah,
really, really, really cheap, people hardly made anything. So this middle ground came out. So um, ultimately, the middle ground is what's going to be reinforced. Pluto will be in Aquarius until early 2044. So we have a long time for this. But next year, all of the other outer planets, which are big generational influences, currently they have been working together finishing up all kinds of old stuff, and they've been really, really extreme. Next year, one at a time, they move into a vibe which collectively we have not experienced. They're moving out of mud, out of earth and water,
right.
into fire and air.
Yeah,
Fire and air.
yeah. That's high energy. High.
Well, I've been saying it's a firestorm, but and all these guys are gonna be in communication with each other, much as they have been at the end of 2024, but they're gonna be at the very beginning of, um, Aries and Gemini and Aquarius. So, uh, we've
Right.
had in our lifetimes, most of us are old enough that we've experienced Saturn in Aries. That was at the very end of the 90s.
Mhm.
But we're not, most of us aren't old enough to have experienced Uranus and Gemini, which was in the World War II time.
Right.
And definitely not the two of them together. None of us have experienced Pluto and Aquarius except for little bits since
Right. Little
early
visits.
last year. And none of us have experienced Neptune and Aries. So these things together, oh, phew, it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And so just know that there's going to be this high energy, self motivating, individual risk taking vibe. Now, uh, is
Hmm.
being fire and air good or bad? Okay, people always say in readings, they go, well, is that good or bad? Well, it is. It just is. It depends on what you do with it. It depends on how it expresses itself. Some people are going to feel their lives take off from the fire
Yeah.
and air together. Some people are going to be uncomfortable with it, but um, some people are going to find themselves hitting a point of just dropping stuff. I did an interview yesterday with my friend, colleague Donna Woodwell, which is on my YouTube channel, Professional Aquarian, talking about 2025. And she she was saying people are going to surprise themselves. They're just going to walk out of things. They're just going to suddenly hit a nope, not doing that, bam, and go off and try really, really different new things. So if you've been
Yeah.
feeling stuck, you're not going to feel stuck next year. Um,
Well, that doesn't really sound like being under an authoritarian dictator.
when I look at people's charts, when I've looked at my clients, I just look at them and go, this is not consistent with having the boot of the state come down on your neck.
I
Now,
do that too. Yeah,
it
it's
is
true.
it is possible, it is possible that there could be some authoritarian streaks in this. Pluto in Aquarius could manifest as really rich people who control technology. Gee, are we seeing any of
That's
that?
happening. That's happening now.
That's
Yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're Leo, Sun, and Moon. You ought to do just fine. So just know that what's being presented as this is what the administration is going to do is not in sync with where we're collectively.
Yeah, and
Collectively,
I don't see us going backwards.
and collectively, we are like the movement that went on for 100 days after
Yeah.
August 19th.
Yeah, we're not going back. That's not the way the universe works. The universe expands. It doesn't go backwards. It's like even retrogrades aren't actually, they just appear to be going backwards, right?
Yeah, it's an optical illusion and it's a time to go deep within. So know that right now we're in a Mars retrograde, which is a time to take your energy and put it inward. It's going to be retrograde until February 23rd. That's a long time. And then the beginning of March, Venus goes retrograde. Venus is the feminine counterpart of Mars. Mars is a planet of action, god of war, how we push ourselves forward, the role of men. Venus is uh, she's not necessarily just sweet, okay? But Venus represents
No.
what we value, how we get along, and she's going to start her retrograde in Aries, which is Mars's territory, and move back into Pisces, which is really consistent with her. So from the beginning of March into April, we'll be revisiting values and relationship issues. After having revisited how we use our energy, the role of men, and oh, I don't know, maybe a fair amount of conflict and fighting. And that could be what passes as traditional warfare. All right. So don't think, oh my God, they're going to drop bombs on us. I don't see that as being what it is. It's not necessarily boots on the ground level, but especially there's a stretch from early February into early March, and NATO's going to be set off, and it's going to set off the US chart, and it's going to just know, all right, we're not going to just sit back and give stern words to Putin. It's not going to be the way this happens.
The European countries. I don't know about America.
If we're part of NATO, we have to go along with it.
Oh yeah, that's true. I just don't. I don't see us leading the way there.
Oh, no. And in fact, NATO just now, today, I do believe, or yesterday, just recently, took command of the situation in Ukraine away from the United States. It
Oh, I
assumed
didn't.
it.
I
It
didn't know that.
assumed it. So that's a Trump
Yeah.
proofing move. We were seeing all these Trump
Yeah.
proofing moves
Yeah.
happening.
Which could be a blessing in disguise too. I mean, it's disturbing that we're losing our standing, and to a certain degree, we're losing our standing on the world stage in terms of other countries being able to trust us, which is really, it's kind of scary. But you mentioned several times about this week being kind of a fireworks going off, starting yesterday. Can you just give us a little bit of? the fireworks, or did you already? Do you feel like
Well,
you
I
already did
mean,
that?
look at you have to look at what's been happening internationally and the fact that
Yeah,
there's so much chaos in governments in the West right now. And
yeah,
I have read, this may not be true. I have read that part of what's making such a mess in Canada is differing reactions to the tariffs that are being threatened.
yeah,
So Canada's got its leadership all bleh, vote of no confidence of the head of France, he may still stay, vote of no confidence for the chancellor in Germany, and my understanding is the person who's kind of in line to slip into that is very pro-Ukraine, pro-NATO.
hmm.
Um,
And do you know who that is?
I don't know the name of the person coming in. I
Are you
you
getting
know,
your news? Are you getting your news from like European sources? Because I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna like
some
listen to the BBC, or like who are you listening to?
I Guardian, is a good one, The Guardian,
Okay, because I
out of the
really do
UK,
need alternatives so I know what's going on, and it's so
and BBC.
refreshing.
BBC is also a good one to go to. So,
It's so refreshing. It's like, oh, intelligence. Intelligent conversations without the babble. Have you looked at all at the mainstream media outlets
no,
here?
no.
I just wonder if you see a complete implosion.
Oh, no, I don't have charts to go on. All I can tell you is based on just looking at last weekend's full moon, which had to do with information and broadcasting and really pushing on the gaslighting and propaganda planet.
Yeah, yeah. It was insane. I mean, that's what I wrote my Substack about, was like, what are we doing here? I mean, they're switching things around. They're sort of moving things in such a way that the mainstream media is has a strong need to convince us that what's coming is not a train wreck. Right. Well, besides the ABC thing, that's a little bit different, but kind of all connected. They're being forced to, in some way, I have to do readings on it to look further. They're being forced to have a whole dialogue about how we just have to put up with this because it's the way it is. We have to have an oligarchy that's led by a very violence minded uh, dictator on day one, right? They're actually preparing us for that. And I feel like there are other forces at work that are going to make them not relevant anymore and make the people like the YouTube channels, right, that are telling the truth.
Someone is mentioning ProPublica in the comments.
Oh,
That's a
thanks. Yeah, yeah.
that's a good one.
I turned off the chat because I couldn't focus.
Yeah, so there's a metamorphosis going on, and when Uranus enters Gemini in July, that's a massive change in our information distribution.
Yeah,
Massive
it's
change.
definitely up for an overhaul because the old mainstream media, the whole cable news thing, that era has passed. We can't go backwards. See, So we're always growing and evolving. And I did read on this several months ago, and I saw a time where mainstream media would have to sort of succumb to the popularity of channels that are telling the truth, and there'd be a little bit of tug of war for a while. But I saw the little people winning.
And that would fit Pluto and Aquarius ultimately,
Right.
yes.
Yeah, I think that we're going to hear, the power to the people, where everybody's so disillusioned around the world with their leadership for, whatever reason, right or wrong. But definitely the people are, I mean, and you may have had this experience when you see all the bozos that are in our government. How often have I thought, move over? You know what I mean? Have you felt that ever? Like, not that you would have to go run for office, but I just mean that feeling of, if you're in that really important seat, Marjorie Trader Green, and you don't even know how to say Gestapo, you say gazpacho, and you know what I mean? Like, if you're in that seat, I would be better in that seat because at least I'm proud of being educated to a certain degree anyway, right? I'm curious. I do research. I write. Like, so. Don't you feel like you could do a better job than the people that are in our government?
Well, there have been twice in my life when people tried to get me to run
Yeah. Well, you're not going to do
for
it. I'm not going
office.
to do it either because it will
No,
be
no, and
it will be a witch hunt. Literally, that will be a witch hunt. Have you picked at any of the the losers charts like MAGA Mike lately, or have
no,
you
I
have
have
you
not looked at him lately. I
who
will
have you
tell.
peeked at?
Whoa. Okay. Good thing you have the chat off.
Yeah, it was
What I'll
getting
tell
vicious.
everybody, what I'll tell everybody about that man is in March, there is a pileup upon him of energy from so many directions that's bearing down on things that have already been destabilized and destabilized and destabilized and destabilized. And there is an influence I call the wrecking ball that has moved twice across the doorway to his career house, which is basically everything. And it is going to be parked there for weeks at the same time that Mars, planet of action, planet of attack, the military, is on major stuff in his chart for the second and then the third time. March is I mean, there are so many things in so many ways. I don't see how he doesn't collapse because in my life, when I had one of these things occur, one of these influences, in the span of a few weeks, every single thing in my life changed except my car. Every single
Yeah,
thing.
you had mentioned that. So we're talking about MAGA Mike, everybody
No,
who
no,
gets to
no. We're
listen.
talking about he who will not be named.
Oh, I thought you were talking about MAGA Mike. That's
No,
awesome.
I haven't
Thank you
looked
for
at.
clearing that up for me.
No, I haven't looked at Mike's chart. I
Rewind.
have looked at you know whose chart.
Well, they're all connected too. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So it's not so military. This is interesting. Somebody reminded me recently, somebody had sent me a text I hadn't heard from for a little while. And she said, "Remember when you said, Annette," and it was a year ago, I'm sure. No, it was a few months ago because Kamala wasn't in the race. So it was a few months ago. Apparently, I said I saw Kamala being inaugurated, and there was a very strong military presence while that was going on. And at the time, I was thinking that it would be January 20th. But I definitely felt it like what happened in 2020.
mhm.
Yeah, what happened in 2020, the or 2021. I mean, when Biden was inaugurated, we had a huge military presence. I see the same thing. I see a Kamala Harris inauguration with the strong military presence. Why would we need that strong military presence? Well, Mars going retrograde and like what you're talking about could have something to do with the military, perhaps.
Yeah, could. And Mars will be by then. Mars will be in Cancer, which is the like protecting the home, protecting the homeland. The U.S. is a Cancer nation. We have a Cancer sun. We
Oh,
have a
right.
lot in the sign of Cancer.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
Mars isn't going to go back as far as the sun, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and
February what, it goes direct?
February 23rd, but it sits. Someone needs to be taken out, please, out of the chat. There's a uh, thank you. Um, Chunk. I let it get. I let myself get derailed.
That's why I turned it off. I'm sorry there's so many trolls. I don't know how to control that.
Well,
Control it.
that's fine. They can say whatever they want.
That's okay.
Anyway,
Take it as a
um,
compliment.
my friend, now one of the people that I've been doing collaborations with, another astrologer and a friend of mine who's an astrologer, but also someone with a huge corporate. The Mars is going to go retrograde back to 17 degrees Cancer, and it's going to sit there for weeks. That's the degree it's going to turn around on. Someone asked about it. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
um, so this friend of mine that I've been doing a lot of stuff with, Andy Brewer, has been repeatedly for years saying that the officer class of the United States was not going to let this person take over and this country go down. They're trained, they've sworn
Oh yeah.
oaths, they've sworn. So I don't know how it will happen. I do not want to, I'm not going to, I am not going to project specific events or ways. Uranus is very active right now. So that means to me, whatever you think, it's gonna be something else. So I don't know, and I don't know what it'll be or how many things it'll be, but it will have I do know it'll have a connection to our alliances. It'll have a connection to things, interests of our allies, interests of global interests. It'll have connections to probably global information. It'll have connections to technology, make of that what you will. And
Yeah.
beyond that, who knows? And people keep saying to me, but it has to be January 20th. It may still be January 20th, actually, but that there are these rules. We must do this. Well, has anything gone according to the usual way of doing anything with this individual?
I mean, why do we have to go by the way it's always gone when the orange monster destroyed all that? Like,
He's the one that he's a chaos agent, and
yeah,
he has blown up pretty much every norm that we have. So, you
yeah,
know,
it really has.
oh, it just changed to describers only mode. Thank you. That'll help.
Well,
That'll help.
subscribers only. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would help. That makes sense. Not members only, subscribers only.
Right. So,
Thank
y-
you.
um, bottom line here is it's the fact that we still have an amazing amount of time between now and January 20th,
It doesn't seem like it, but
and yet we do.
yeah.
And things can happen things can happen quickly, things can just focus on really do please put your focus on your life, what is working, what do you want. This is
Sure.
personal self-paced soul retrieval time with Mars being retrograde in the sign of Leo until the beginning of January. So um live for your life some. Think of how much energy you have put over the last decade into propping up this person and and reacting to. We have been feeding him, fueling him. Please, please find joy in the sparkle of the season. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Sage, the Scales Tarot. Um, you know,
Mm.
and the more that you find a place of sparkle and joy in yourself and you kind of amp up your own energy, your own unique signature, that's going to radiate out to other people,
Yeah, that's
little
very true.
smiles here and there, and then it just
Right.
gets bigger and bigger and it makes a difference because if we all focus on, oh my god, no, this is what's going to happen, well, we're reinforcing that happening.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time.
Right.
I want to just say that I found that it's helpful to, like, if you have a business, I'm always working on how to grow my business. You plan. I'm not a formal planner. I'm an artist for God's sake. But anyway, you kind of think about, the new year and what you'll be doing. And I think it's really important to make sure that you're planning for living in a democracy, right?
And I would add a couple of things to that.
Good.
In a democracy, community participation,
Yeah.
connecting with other people, making connections with people who are like-hearted, and also figuring out what you can have in your life that isn't tied into big corporate America. How can
Yeah.
you shop small? How can you support the people around you? Is there something, can you grow some of your own food? I currently growing mushrooms in a bag. Not for
Oh,
that
are
reason.
you? I'm
I'm
growing
growing
sprouts.
mushrooms in a bag in my kitchen. I've had
I
mushroom
haven't had
lodge
luck with the
before.
mushrooms. I grow sprouts regularly. We should get them to endorse us. Who's the mushroom company?
Desert Moon, they're from, I think, Nevada. A food writer that I know sent a message out with, here's what I'm giving this year. And I saw several things and went, these are great. And like I said, I used to have a shiitake log, which was really bizarre, but this isn't a log.
Yeah,
This is
I love shiitake.
a bag of
Yeah,
mulch with mushrooms growing in
I've
it.
done that, yeah, and I was gonna do a show with the mushroom guy at the farmer's market this past summer, but he chickened out, which was kind of funny. The day we're gonna do it, he just didn't show up at the market. I'm like, okay, forget it. But yeah, I have been growing. Hamama is a company that sells sprout packages, and they're really great. Sprouts are excellent. So yeah, focus on health, focus on planning for the future, focus on freedom, get involved in saving democracy. I mean, I know that you say we've spent so much energy on this man, but we kind of had to,
I'm
don't
not,
you think?
I'm just saying, stop it now. Okay. What's done is done. But
But
now fo-
still,
focus on what you can do.
right.
And the new moon at the end of the year, December 30th,
Oh, I see
New
that.
Year's Eve is in Capricorn, which is
Wow.
goal oriented,
Oh my gosh. We have
being
two
an
new
adult.
moons.
We have, yes,
We have two new moons. What do you don't call that a blue moon, do you? Blue new moon? Blue new moon. You don't
it
that
just
you're an
works out that
astrologer. You
way.
don't just they don't have a
Nah, and
term for that.
the calendar's an artificial construct, so I don't pay
So we
attention
had a new
to
moon in
uh,
Sagittarius and then we have a new moon in Capricorn, right?
at the end of the year.
On the
So
30th. Wow.
and it's wired for um being committing to practical things, practical goals for your life. And it's not the same old like, oh, I'm gonna be a size 9 again, sort of thing. Whatever you've written from year to year to year. It's different than resolutions because these intentions or where your thoughts are going or whatever the new seeds are that you're thinking about as the year goes out are going to have a direct connection to Pluto and Aquarius. So there is a something that is adapting to the new way of doing things.
Yeah, that sounds like AI to me.
Well, it could be AI or it could be, you know, uh I there's a shop I go to and I refill all my, cleaning supplies there
Oh, it could be
rather
that.
than
It could be
ordering them, so
yeah. Could be kind of like, breakthroughs in conservation and that kind of thing.
right, but just generally think put your mind toward what kinds of solid things do you actually want to bring into your life, and sometimes durable, sometimes boring is what you want. This is not, oh, I'm going to go have big adventures next year. Trust me, you will have big adventures next year. But for contemplating going into the year, really do spend some time thinking about how you're going to set some of your priorities up differently. I mean, I can see people deciding they're gonna learn how to can or make soap and I don't mean cute little things. I mean things that you can actually use. Maybe you'll cook more. I do not know.
So yeah, that sounds really wonderful. I'm gonna get organized. um I am, I swear. Can we talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the air?
I have no idea what to make of it. You and I have talked about it. I think a lot of it really is planes. Adam Kinzinger has a long thing about that, and some of it clearly isn't planes. I don't know.
He has a video that says they're actually planes.
He has posted a whole lot. Uh, um,
He was in the Air Force.
He's said if you use telephoto lens and look at stuff, uh, if you there a lot of these things are actually planes that people are
Well,
just
some of them I would definitely logically say are planes. But why is there a proliferation of them? And of planes. Like all of a sudden, there's all these planes. And why is it like a big story that's been persistent for a couple weeks now, right? Why that? All of a sudden, we're making a big hullabaloo about airplanes. Do you think that it's part of what's going on astrologically with Neptune or
Yeah,
Aquarius?
so I mean, I brought that up at the very beginning that
Yeah,
we had a full moon in signs that have to do with travel and things moving through the sky, long distance, and then the sun and the moon are both pushing down on Neptune with giant clouds of who knows what is really going on here.
yeah,
I I have I don't know. I mean, I'm near where a lot of people are seeing them. I know people who say that there've been clusters of them over their house. I've only seen one thing that maybe was, but it was far enough away that I couldn't tell. It could have been a small plane. I don't know. It was over the arsenal. I live near one of the areas that people are seeing things.
yeah.
Um,
So you don't think they're airplanes, right?
I have no idea what they are, but I will tell you, I do not feel threatened by them. Isn't that odd? Do not have a visceral reaction of, oh, this is bad news or anything like that. I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
Nor have I. But there's lots of theories going on out there.
Yep.
Now, just to conclude, we don't think that the orange monster is going to be in power.
I don't.
Me
There's
neither.
there is so much there are so many logical reasons and forces.
Yeah,
There's so many ways that could happen. I I too many people, too much at stake, and there are bigger people than he.
yeah, and it's not just us that's concerned here.
No.
In
Oh, no,
there.
no. I mean, it's a global issue. It is a
Yeah,
global issue.
it definitely is. So let's plan for him not to be in office. Let's not watch the news that's fake, and keep our wits about us. It's really, really important. Is there anybody in the chat that's asking a pressing question? I do want
Not
to say that I think that Biden's been pretty relaxed and happy. So have you noticed that?
Yep.
Yeah. And that when he had the meeting in the White House, when Trump came in, he was relaxed and happy. So I just wanted to add that little tidbit of information. Is there anybody in the chat that is asking a pressing question?
Nope. They're talking about drones and the FAA and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for alarm around that. I do feel like our military will step up. I've felt that all along. Um, Even a family member who I get my psychic gift from, who claims she's not psychic, but I ask her my mom, when I just really want to know, and she's always right. she, she's called football games when, like, she has no like attachment to it at all, and just when the our team was winning, and she'd be like, they're gonna lose. So anyway, she said Trump would win, and she said, me, I'm like, what? And I said both, but he's like Mussolini reincarnated, and he's a terrible, horrible dictator wannabe. And she said, oh, the military will help us. And so I mean, coming from like a real kind of detached perspective, and just knowing I get my gift from her, I keep that in the back of my mind. This is a calendar that my niece Emery's fur hand sketched. Please go to my website, psychicannettedion.com. It's $25 for a 2025 hand sketched lunar calendar. See all the little moons? It's a lot of work. She does it every year. There's that. Go ahead and promote yourself.
My website is empowermentunlimited.net. I have weekly moon and monthly forecasts. I have a Patreon with all kinds of cool stuff. My YouTube channel is Professional Aquarian, and it has all of the forecasts plus these days, twice a week, really long political, actually global political, geopolitical looks at what's happening astrologically, and I translate it into real language. 2 things coming up in January. First, I am in a free quantum astrology symposium that runs from January 6th through the 17th. I'll be talking about storytelling astrology, and I'll put there are links to this in my current forecast. And I'm also doing with Donna Woodwell our annual Write Your Story workshop, helping everybody walk through what the astrological aspects of the year are doing for you personally and helping
Okay.
you write what you want things to do. And that one is January 8th, and there are links up in my on my YouTube channel for that, and I think it's up on my site as well at this point. That
All
one does
right.
have a charge. It comes with a workbook. It comes with a follow-up question and answer session. It comes with you getting to have the videos of us talking. So if you can't do it live, no problem.
All right. Excellent. You're doing shows with Cosmic Owl, and is that on a schedule, or are you just kind of whenever
Well,
you
we
do this
started it as a
thing?
one-off, and then it was every Friday, and now we're doing them twice a week. Usually Monday and Friday. This week it's Monday and Thursday. I don't know what will happen next week.
All right, and they're very popular.
Yeah,
You're
it's kind of
expanding.
we're
You
being
must have some.
quoted by other channels. It's really
All
hysterical.
right, and you must have lots of Jupiter stuff going on there because you're expanding. All right, well, I think it's a wrap. It's past 60 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please hit the thumbs up on the way out. Please share if this is helpful to you, and we'll see you again real soon. All right.
Bye all.
Bye. Thanks. Sorry about the trolls. See you.